Guys, you guys know that the word Jesus and Jesus is not Isa or Yeshua, right? And a lot of people are misled to believe that Jesus, the word Jesus, is when you are actually invoking the name Jesus, you're actually calling Prophet Isa or Yeshua. You're not. Yeshua apparently is Yeshua from my research is Yeshua and Lucifer are the same. But also the word Lucifer is also Satan name. You understand? So these people went ahead and invading, many countries and stuff that hold, history or knowledge of ancient names or whatnot, and a lot of these people been destroyed. Basically, they're being invaded by the Roman Empire, and a lot of the knowledge are stolen, and it's been hoarded stored in the Vatican vaults. So they went and changed names because they don't want people to call old, God name. They don't want people to use God's name because they feel it's not because it's sacred. No, it's not because it's sacred. Because they don't want you to call the true God. They want you to call their forefather. Satan is their father. Satan is the 13th bloodline of Earth. The ruler of Earth now are their father, So when you call Lucifer, you call Satan. When you call Jesus, you call him Satan. And I'll tell you that. Why? Because when I was in Sudan, when I was targeted, I went back to Sudan and I was doing work in my family house or whatnot. And I was, at that time, I was staying by myself in the whole house. I was laying on a couch and I fell asleep. And I woke up in the middle of the night calling the name Jesus. And I don't even know what Jesus is. But Jesus is Satan name. So they were attacking me by the using, because the elites, their father is Satan. That's why they call the synagogue of Satan is the Zio church. People think they're Zionist or the Zios. They think they believe in God. They don't believe in God. They don't not believe in God one bit. They believe in money. They worship the money. Money comes before God. You understand? So, and they do not like it when you are aligning yourself with the true God. They want you to be, falling in the wrong path and stuff. Because when I woke up that day and I just said, "Hey, Jesus, what is that?" And then when I woke up, I woke up myself, because when I said, "Hey, Jesus," I was laying on the couch. Something, like I felt something like a sharp object hit the bottom of my foot. It's like a needle or a knife or something, because they use witchcraft, right? And so anyhow, I invoked this name during my sleep, because they were doing witchcraft on me. They were, they have hidden cameras in my house in Sudan, and to watch me when I sleep or whatever. And so they got me cursing myself. You understand? So I woke up and I was like, hey, Sus, what is that? And I went looking for it and I didn't know how to spell it initially. And I did not know how to spell it. I just kept playing with the letters because I didn't even know how to spell that name. I wanted to know what it was. I looked it up and something told me that was Satan. And then in the long run, after my deep research, realized that was Satan, their father. So their father is a demon, and he's what do you call it, wearing a mask to be the true Isa or Yeshua, all these names, Jesus, Satan, Lucifer, Jesus, Jesus, and all belongs to him, because they kept hiding his identity behind false names to get you to worship their forefather, which is he's a false god. He's not a true god. And yeah. But anyhow, so the reason I'm telling you this, why? Because of I was walking, my sister sent me to the pharmacy to pick up some stuff for her. And I see this lady in the middle of the sidewalk. She stood there and waving at me. And I'm like, and I looked around. I thought she was waving to the person behind me. I looked behind me and nobody there. I was like, oh, she must thought I look like somebody she knows, right? But I don't know her. This is like a African, but I'm walking, guys, up the hill, so I'm gasping for air. I'm gasping for air. Anyhow, I thought she mistaken me for somebody else she knows who, whatever. So when we got like 5 to 6 feet away, she says, Jesus love you. Jesus love you. Jesus, bless you. Jesus this, And I didn't want to tell her, lady, you're really calling Satan, you know that. But someone who believe in Jesus' name, they actually, you cannot really get to them. You can never really get them to understand they're actually invoking a false god, a false deity, Satan himself, because, he's father of lie. So obviously he's using names that has been embedded into these people's psyche for a long time, and you cannot get them to understand it. Because if I stood there and I told her, do not use this name, you're actually invoking Satan, and I try to explain to her, this conversation will derail. It will go down in a path that is more like negative, and she would not understand it, And so I just said to her, oh, thank you. I just feel like telling her, lady, I don't want Jesus to bless me. I don't want Lucifer to bless me, Satan to bless me, because you're actually calling Satan. But I just really want to get into it with her. But in reality, yeah, you cannot really get to someone who believe, who believe, because she's not older, she's in her 50s, so whatnot, and because that name ingrained into them so much, they would not accept the true knowledge if I were to give them the true knowledge. And if I were to give them this true knowledge, they were rejected. So yeah. So that's what my situation today was. A lady want to pray. She almost told me like, let's pray together. How what they do. I know. I don't want to pray to Jesus, Lucifer, Satan. There is a true Jesus. There's a true Lucifer, which is, and those names are not. Yeah, those names are not belongs to Yeshua or Isa. Isa is not the same entity. You understand? And yeah, so I didn't feel like I can get into it with her. Trying to tell her, do not worship false, idols and Satan himself. You just don't know the origin. How could the name Isa, the I turn into a J? How would that possible? Anyhow, names don't change, and yeah, names don't change, and deception change tactics all the time because he's a father of lies. He loved to lie and to deceive people. So anyhow, that was what's going on today with the lady wanted telling me, you know, Jesus loved me and or I don't want Jesus to love me, and so anyhow, so I don't want Satan himself to love me. So I'm not gonna give my energy to someone who's the enemy of humanity, you know. So so yeah, that's what's going on. And the other thing I wanted to talk about is now you know what. I remember when I first got targeted, and you go online trying to find information to support your position and or to defend your honor, or what you're telling people is the truth. I remember back in the day, like 12 years ago, when I first got targeted, 12 or 13 years ago. But anyhow, when I used to tell people about my targeting, the shadow governments and 13 bloodlines, the crown of England, and I used to tell people, who's actually targeting us, and people used to tell me like, "Oh, he must be crazy. All these people have no time for you. Why would they care about you?" I remember one of my sisters told me one time, "You're not that important. Why would they target you? Why would they spend that kind of time and energy and money to go after somebody who irrelevant?" You know what I mean? And then I find out, our bloodline is related to the prophet bloodlines, and I started at the beginning. I questioned the motive, and then when I knew things about they created certain diseases so you can give up your DNA, and that was to find the entire house of Abraham. Why do you think the CV virus was created? Why do you think it was created? Yeah, to find us, to find all of us, and to make money as well, because you know how much money they generated from this, from something is manufactured, you know. And anyhow, back then I used to tell people who was actually really targeting us, and people do not believe it. My family do not believe it, and even my brother now, he's still telling me like, "Oh, don't send me stuff. Don't send me stuff to my WhatsApp or send it to me, whatever. I don't want people to do something, whatever, because he moved to the U.S. And he got his residency, which is the green card or whatnot, and he's nervous about if I were to send him something like that, he'll be targeted. So you see how they got people scared like that. I am not scared. I'm gonna say whatever I want to say, when I feel like it. I get attacked for it. It does not change the fact. When I get attacked for it, it does not change the fact that I'm telling the truth. You only fight. You only battle. You only battle it with the truth. You know. You only battle it with the truth. If you wanted to use lies to win this war against them, they're habitual liars. They've done it for a long time. So for you to win over with lies is it would never happen. You could never win with lies against them because yeah, they led people to believe Satan, Jesus, Jesus, and Lucifer, and all of that are the same being as Yeshua, Isa. You know what I mean? And yeah, so they got everybody fooled. You can never win with against them with lies. You have to tell it to how it is. But now a lot of people are awakened to our true identity on who we are. Back in the day, I couldn't find any information when I look for targeted individuals and people who have been targeted by the governments, or the crown, by the 13 bloodline, whatnot. It was very rare. I could find a lot of stuff. But now, pages and pages about targeted individuals and who we are and why we've been targeted. But a lot of people do not know the main truth. The main truth is because our relationship to the house of Abraham, our bloodline. That's the main truth. That's why we've been targeted. You understand? And they making money. Slavery, trafficking, and oppression, and all of that. All that generates money. And yeah, and so that was actually it generates money. So people on this program are generating money to this 13 bloodline, the Crown of England, and yeah, we're generating them a lot of money. That's why I've read an article about Charles, the King of UK. Anyhow, they said his wealth surpassed the Queen. His wealth surpasses the Queen, his mother. You understand? And his mother ruled for I don't know how long, but she was ancient. She's like a mummy. So she ruled for almost 100 years, 70 or 80 years. I can't remember, but it's a long time. But anyhow, someone who ruled that much, and his wealth surpasses her wealth. You understand? That's from targeting us because we generated this money for him, you know, and they don't want us to talk about it. But hey, I'm not gonna stop talking about it. I've been targeted. I'm being subjugated to a lot of hate, a lot of injustice. So yeah.
Do you want to walk through the elderberry
Yeah.
bit?
So that's something is not gonna go away. I'm not gonna stop talking about it. I'm not gonna stop spreading the truth. And because what's happening to us is unfair, unjust, and just for money. They put you through the ringer. They put you through this hate program, and yeah, they put you through this hate program and they don't want you to talk about it. No, 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 no. Sorry, guys. That's not going to happen. I will talk about it because it's this is facts. What's happening to us, it's happening. We've been cooked through by radiation. We've been attacked through sonic weapons, radio wave, illnesses and diseases being weaponized against us, hate tactics, Nazi tactics, and the list is pretty long. But and so I'm going to continue to talk about my truth about what's happening to me and what happened to a lot of target individuals globally, and yeah, so yeah, and they all want you to be subservient to them. They want you to be subservient to them, and when you refused to join the cult, and that's what happened to you. You become a target individual like myself, because initially it was offered to me to join the Masons, and I said no, and then everything went south. It's not going to happen now in a million years because people they have made my family members suffer. They still is. They still making our family members suffer and humanity suffer. A lot of people, suffer. So I'm not gonna join forces with somebody who enjoy making other people suffer. Narcs are they indulge on suffering of others. You understand? Because they have the money now and they've been protected. It's gonna come a time this protection is gonna be lifted. Our divinity is gonna be activated. 144,000. Yeah, we won't be talking. Will not be, trying to defend ourselves anymore. We will take actions. Okay? So anybody who attack 144,000, yeah, when that time comes, you know, when time comes, when God releases us, activate our power, our divinity, yeah, you're gonna find out what they did is wrong.